But first, for anyone that isn't familiar, this is my Fundamentals of Spirituality series, and this is class 5 of that series. So I do this every first Wednesday of the month, and next month is going to be how to manifest, heal trauma within ourselves, and initiate inner healing. That's a really cool class because it really helps us to move forward with things and learn how to kind of manifest that energy. And in order to manifest energy, we have to work on our traumas and we have to work on our build-ups and stuff like that. So it's a really good course. So today I am going to talk about our intuition and archangels. So I'll go ahead and hop on into it. So when we look at our intuition, a lot of people, so when I first started my spiritual journey, I would call my intuition my psychic abilities. I would say, I have my psychic abilities. I do this using my psychic ability, my clairvoyance or my clairsentience or whatever. But then it started getting to a place where a lot of people felt like the word or the term psychic abilities was just kind of like real woo woo or just like out there basically. So I started using intuition. That's what I would say. That's, I'm using my intuition, and that just made people feel much better about it. So I say that because I want you to know that when I say intuition, I also mean our psychic abilities. And our psychic abilities are incredibly, incredibly useful. So anyway, with that being said, I just realized that my son scooted my chair down. I felt like I was sitting so low down to the camera. I felt like I was looking up at it, and I realized he was just down here playing a game on the computer, and he lowered my chair. So anyway, we're talking about psychic abilities. We're talking about intuition and so on. So what is our intuition? Our intuition is our inner guidance system. It is fueled by our inner knowing. It can be also influenced by our spirit guides, our loved ones that have passed, archangels, all those kind of things. And it's our way of it's like our inner compass basically, and our way to navigate this world. When I first got into my spiritual journey and I learned about spirit guides, I learned about my intuition and all that, I was like, this feels like a cheat code. And I feel like everyone in the world should know how to do this and know all about intuition, know all about spirit guides and so on, because it makes life so much easier. With that being said, it also makes life confusing sometimes when our intuition, when we're battling, is it our intuition or is it our ego self? Is it just what we want, or is it what the universe is telling us to do? And I'm here to tell you that that is not something that is very easy to overcome. It does take time, it does take practice, and it does take paying attention to how your intuition comes across versus your ego coming across. It takes time to notice all of that and figure all that out. So don't be too hard on yourself if you're like, man, I felt like this was the right decision and it didn't work out. Thought I was following my intuition. Well, maybe you were. So there's a couple things here. Maybe you were meant to do that and it was meant to not work out for some reason and you got what you needed out of it. Or maybe you did listen to your ego self instead of your intuition. And that's okay, because I don't want to go too far into this topic because I want to stay on intuition. But I think this is important for everyone to know, is that we get very caught up on what decision should I make, or did I make the right decision? Is this the right decision, or is this the right decision? There's always a highlighted decision, and your intuition will clearly show you that. When someone asks me, Josh, should I do this or should I do that? I see them highlighted, and I see what's good about this one, what's good about that one, or what's bad, and so on. But even if you pick the one that's not highlighted, the universe, your spirit guides, ancestors, and so on, they are going to make that work to the best, in the best way that it possibly can. So it's not like you're making the wrong decision and now everything's just a bust. It means that your spirit guides, the universe, it's going to start moving things around a little bit for you to be able to learn as much as you can in that same situation. And maybe the same exact outcome is going to happen in that situation. It just might not be as pleasant as it would have been if you went down the other route. So understand basically what I'm saying is there is no wrong decision, unless if it's like, should I don't know, do this good thing or should I do this really bad thing? Well, your guides aren't supporting you doing that really bad thing. They are there telling you that they love you and they're there to support you unconditionally, but they are not happy about that, and they will steer you to another direction, but they will still teach you as much as they possibly can in that situation. So now to reel it back in a little bit, intuition is our inner guidance system, and it helps guide us through life. And if you hear people say that, like I just have that gut feeling, or you hear parents say, I just feel that my kids need me, and then they reach out and their kids are like, oh my gosh, I really needed to hear from you, and so on. That's our intuition and our connection to the people all around us, because we do have a connection. I was just talking about someone with my wife earlier, and as I was talking about that someone messaged me, and I was like, that's kind of cool. And that's just the way that it works. And the reason that worked is because that someone felt me talking about them, and they may have thought about reaching out, or they may have thought about me at some point throughout the day, but at that time they felt that very strongly because I was talking about them and our energy was kind of connecting, and that signal was being sent. So they listened to their intuition and they reached out to me. Now, if that someone was really in tune with their intuition, they would know that I am either talking about them, or that that our energies are meant to connect for whatever reason. So anyway, that gut feeling where you just know you shouldn't do it, and then you go and do it and it ends up being bad. Or you know that you should do it, you go do it, and it ends up being amazing. So that is our gut feeling. What's happening in there is, it's not like our stomach's like, hey, do this. It's our energy that we're feeling. That gut feeling oftentimes is that urge, that draw, that pull towards that something that you should or shouldn't do. For example, if you meet someone and that someone, as soon as you meet them, you get that gut feeling that they are just not a good person. Well, you want to trust that, because that's your energy shrinking up. That's your energy reacting to their energy. So your energy is like, oh God, that's not good energy. I'm going to step back, or I'm going to shrink up a little bit. And that is our gut feeling. On the flip side of that, if you meet someone and you are like, oh my gosh, I feel so drawn to you, that is your energy opening up to that person. So you should gravitate towards that person. That's the type of stuff that you want to start paying attention to when you're trying to connect with your intuition, is how am I feeling in all situations. Now, there's been many times in the past where I met someone and I did not get a good gut feeling about them, but everyone was like, this person's the best person ever. And that person's like, oh, I'm cool here. Let's go out to eat. I'll buy. And, all that kind of stuff. And they seem like they're a good person, or that there might be a good person there. And then a few months into it, I realized why I got that gut feeling. And then I am no longer friends with them. And that's kind of that's happened many times in my life and my wife's life. So listen to that gut feeling. Our intuition also comes in the form of synchronicities. Now, synchronicities are, there's a lot of different types of synchronicities. So if you look at numbers, for example, last night I was having a dream that I was being trained to fly an airplane. So for anybody that knows, for anybody that doesn't know, I am currently going through the process to become a pilot. A private pilot. Like, I don't want to be an airline. I just want to be able to fly wherever I want to fly. So my guides, before every lesson that I do in real life, in my sleep, my guides are teaching me how to fly an airplane. It's so crazy, and it's just it's cool as well. But last night I was having a dream the whole night that I was flying, or that I was being taught how to land an airplane, how to take off and do other things. Last night, I don't know the exact times except for the 333, but last night I woke up every hour on the hour. It started at 2:44, I think. Then I woke up at 3:33. Then I woke up at 4:55, and it happened all the way up until 6 o'clock in the morning when I woke up at 6. I think it was like 6:22 or something. It happened every single hour, and that is synchronicities. Now that's a little like that's a very advanced form of synchronicities of like waking up and seeing it every single hour, but that's kind of how it happens. And what that is telling me is, hey, we support your decision to be or go on this journey for this pilot, and we are training you and we are helping you. So if you're going about your day and you're seeing the number 22, and then the next hour you see the number 11, then later on you see the number 77 on a bus or something, that is your guides telling you, hey, you are going down the right track. Whatever decisions or whatever direction you're going in life right now, that is what we want you to do. And we are telling you that you are in your flow state, you're doing what you need to do, and everything is right. Now, if you see the same exact number over and over and over, so let's just say, for example, you wake up at 6:33 in the morning. You're like, oh, that's cool, 6:33. And then you get in your car and you get behind a bus that has the bus number 33. And then you get to work or you go buy a coffee or something, and then your total was $12.33 or something. That's when you want to pay attention to the actual number. Because what happens is some people see all these random numbers and then they start Googling what does each number mean, and it confuses the heck out of you because that is not what they're trying to get to you. But if you're seeing that same exact number over and over and over again, that is trying to get you a message. So you research the number 33. And if I'm not mistaken, the number 33 represents that your highest, or that your spirit guides and the highest beings are supporting you to the fullest, and you are able to manifest whatever you need to manifest, and they are supporting you and they're and helping you in every way possible. So that's when you look up the number. Synchronicities also come in the form of songs, and it can be where you wake up and you have a song in your head. That's our intuition, and you need to listen to that song and understand what it's telling you. If you're thinking about, I don't know, taking a leap, and then you wake up in the morning and you hear a song that's going like, you need to take that risk, or I don't know, something like that, then you should listen to those lyrics, because they're telling you you should do it. But synchronicity wise, if you get in your car, I have a story that I've told a few times, so sorry if you've already heard it before, but I have a friend, and I had a conversation with him one night, and he was like, I am into the spiritual stuff somewhat, never really dove too far into it, but I just need support. And I said, look, tell your spirit guides to come down to you and support you, or not support you, but guide you heavily, and tell them you're listening, tell them that you're ready, and then just pay attention starting tomorrow when you wake up. And he said, okay, cool. So he woke up, he had to take his dog to the vet. So he got in this car, and there was this really old song that doesn't play on the radio that was playing on the radio. And he was like, that's weird that this song's playing. So then he dropped his dog off at the vet, and then he got back in his car, went to the oil change place. He had to get his oil changed, and he went to the oil change place and walked in, and that song was playing in the oil change place. And he was like, what the heck? What are the odds that that's playing in my car and it's playing here now? And he was like, you know what, whatever though, that's cool, whatever, I'll look into it later. Then his mom picked him up because he was just dropping his car off, and he was, I don't know, doing whatever he was doing with his mom. And he got in his mom's car, and she's like, yeah, how you doing? He's like, good, good. And then they talk for a second. Then she turned the radio on, and guess what was on the radio? That same exact song was on the radio. So he then texted me like, Josh, oh my gosh, wait until you hear what happened, and blah, blah, blah. And the song was all about like support and being there and stuff. And he was like, I am just blown away by this song that I heard and how it supported me and so on. So that is an example of how those synchronicities happen. Last example I give, because I can sit here for an hour probably and talk about synchronicities, But another synchronicity that we can get is hearing the same thing. So I've told this story as well, but for a while, I was like, this was a long time ago, I was like, man, I want to get my genuine connection back with Mother Earth and with the universe, because I feel like it's not feeling as like pure as it was for some reason. And it was because I was diving into all this psychic reading stuff and everything, and it was just like it was just a mess in a way. But anyway, there was a bunch of synchronicities that happened. I can't remember what they all were, but I kept hearing the name Jake. And then I had some things that happened where there was like the name Jake on it. And I was like, what the heck? And then I used to hold a meetup group where we would meet and we would share messages and we would just work on our psychic abilities or our intuition. And this guy was reading me and he was like, man, honestly, I don't know why, but every time I just look at you, I hear the name Jake. And I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, I've been hearing that forever. So fast forward the next day, and I got home. Me and my family got home, and I never watch movies. I really don't ever watch any TV shows, honestly. And I got the urge to turn it on to like Disney Plus, and I was like, all right, what am I even doing? So I kind of scrolled down, and I went to the movie Avatar. And I was like, I've never seen this. And my teacher at the time, she was telling me I should watch Avatar because it's a great movie. So I turned Avatar on and I started watching it. And as I did, the main character was there and he like woke up out of the Avatar state and they were like, Jake, get ready or whatever. I don't know what they said, but they said Jake. And I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is why I kept hearing the name Jake. And it's because they were telling me I need to watch that movie and I need to pay attention. So I paused it, waited for my kids to go to bed, and then I only had one kid at the time. And then I watched that movie very intentfully, and man, I learned so much. Not even learned, I just remembered that pure connection that I have with the earth and with the universe. And from that day on, it's just been there and it's been pure and it's just been really good. So anyway, that is kind of how synchronicities work. So Anne, you said I've been hearing the melody "I Like Me for Me." Can't get it out of my head. That's awesome. I love that. That's really cool because I mean, obviously, I'm sure you can see the message. I like me for me. You like yourself for who you are. You are who you are, and you need to learn to like who you are and just continue to try to better yourself. And yeah, I absolutely love that. That's really cool. Thank you for sharing. All right. So then feelings and urges. I did kind of mention this with our energy opening and our energy closing. But there's also urges that you can get. Let me see what I talk about after this before I dive too far. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to give two examples here. So I used to deliver a paper route for the Cincinnati Enquirer. That was 7 days a week. Every single night I did the same exact route. I delivered to the library over here on Bridgetown, and every time I would just throw a paper and then go on. Nothing crazy. Well, then one day this was after like 6 months of working there. I threw the paper and I was like, man, I kind of feel like going into the library. It feels like it'd be cool to go in there. And then I was like, why am I thinking about going into the library? I must need to go into the library. But I was like, whatever, no big deal. So then the next night I went and I felt the same thing. I was like, okay, I'm listening. I will go. And then the next day, me and my family were riding past the library and I felt the same thing. So I was like, you know what? Let's go to the library. Excuse me. We went in. I've never been into that library. I haven't been in a library in a long, long time, honestly. But we went in and I was like, all right, just guide me. And I walked over and I turned down an aisle. And sure enough, it's the spirituality section. And there were a few books that I got there that were like, I actually took a picture of them so I can listen to the audio version at that time. But they were instrumental in my growth, on my path, basically. So that was an urge. And then last example is one time I was driving to get my mom's van, and I was coming up to a stoplight, and it was like 3:00 in the morning, and my light was green, the other lights were red. And I was driving, and I was like, man, I need to stop at this light. And I was like, no, I need to hurry up and get to my mom's van. And then I was like, no, I need to stop at this light. And I'm like, I'm not stopping at a green light. So at that point, I'm arguing with myself. That is our first, just in case anybody doesn't know, that is our first sign that your intuition is trying to tell you something. When you find yourself arguing with yourself, because you're most likely not arguing with yourself. You're either arguing with your spirit guides or you're arguing with your inner voice, your inner intuition. So I was driving, I was like, I'm not stopping. And then as I got there, my foot just came off of the gas and went onto the brake. And I stopped at this stoplight, and a car flew through the stoplight at like 65 mile an hour. And I mean, it would have 100%, without a doubt, crushed me. Like it would have smashed, like it would have hit me, is what I'm saying. Who knows what would have happened? But I wasn't wearing a seatbelt because it was late. I was like, oh, I'm fine. And it could have been very bad, but I listened. Well, actually, I guess I didn't listen. It just happened. But listen to those urges and those feelings, just like what I got that night. All right. So then we have our psychic abilities, which is our clairs, that I'm going to be talking about. So our intuition comes through, and it's categorized into different subjects. So we have our clairs, and I'm going to go over those in just a second. But that is like our, it is broken down into different clairs on which type of, like, for example, the ability to see is clairvoyance, and the ability to feel other people's energy is our clairsentience. So there's different clairs for all the psychic abilities, and I'm going to go over those in depth in just a second. All right, and then communication with our spirit guides, higher self, loved ones, and archangels. All right, so this is this can get a little bit confusing because, and I'm going to talk about this with the clairaudience as well in a second, but when we are getting that information, it can come from many different sources. It can come from, we can just say God. It can come from Jesus. It can come from your past relative. It can come from your spirit guides. I mean, anything. On the flip side, it can come from a spirit that's just around you and so on. So you have to try to learn how to discern who is talking to you and what their intent is, basically. But with our intuition, you will gain, or you will figure out how to discern who's talking to you, but it can sound like your own voice inside your head, and it can feel like your own feelings and your own urges, which again, I'm going to talk about in just a second. And then lastly, well, I have two more things on that, is the ability to just know. Now, this is a very hard one as well this is a hard one to realize that it's actually happening, because oftentimes we just know something, and there's no logical reason why you just know something, but you try to explain that away. And that's kind of the just knowing part. And I am going to talk about that more in just a second. And then lastly, when you have something happen, such as stubbing your toe, let's say that you wake up in the morning and you stub your left toe, and then you're like, that hurt, whatever. You haven't stubbed your toe in 5 years, and you're just like, that hurt. It's been a while, but whatever, it's good. Then a little bit later on, you stub your toe again, getting out of the shower or something. It's the same toe or the same foot. At that point, you want to ask, why am I stubbing my left foot or my left toe? And oftentimes, the reason that happens is because your spirit guides, the universe, is trying to get your attention on something on your spiritual or emotional or mother or feminine side, because that's what our left side represents. If it was our right side, it would be our father, our masculine, or our physical side of things. Now, when that happens, you have to stop and say, all right, why are you trying to get my attention? Like, what are you trying to show to me? And then you just open up and you listen and you wait to see what pops up. That can also happen with like hitting your elbow or, I don't know, just anything. If something happens more than once in a day, you want to look at that and you want to say, why is this happening? Why did that particular thing happen more than once? Because honestly, think about it. And you may be like, well, shoot, it just happened yesterday. But for most of us, think about it. When is the last time you've actually stubbed your toe? It was months ago, or it could be years ago. I mean, I've went years and years and years without stubbing my toe, and then I stub it 3 times in one day. There's just no reason for me to stub my toe 3 times in one day without there being a reason behind, like a message behind it. So pay attention to that kind of stuff. All right. So now we're going to go into the clairs. Now, we have 6 different clairs and abilities, and these clairs go over things like seeing energy, feeling energy, hearing energy, smelling on another frequency, tasting on another frequency, and just knowing things, just knowing what's happening. So we are going to go ahead and tap in to, we'll go ahead and tap into or talk about clairvoyance. All right. So clairvoyance is the ability to see. Now, our ability to see energy, our ability to see spirit, our ability to see on a different frequency. You might be able to see energy grids. I mean, there's so much that you can see with your clairvoyance. For me, when I was first starting all of this, my teacher's like, you're very clairsentient. You can feel others' energy, and I'm like, yeah. But I want to see, and she's like, you can see, but let's focus on the clairsentience. And I'm like, yeah, for sure, but I want to see. So I focused a lot on my clairvoyance when I first started, and my clairvoyance is my strongest gift now. But the clairvoyance is the ability to see energy. Now, I'm going to talk about the clair, and then I'm going to give you some ways to strengthen that clair. So with clairvoyance, you can do things such as see other people's auric field. You can see the energy within the body. You can see spirits that are lingering around your house or around others' house. You can see energy lines and energy grids in the around the world and around your area and things like that. It helps you to be able to do such thing. So when it comes to our clairvoyance, one of the best way to strengthen that ability is to work on your ability to hold images in your mind, because when it comes to our clairvoyance, it is not very far off from our imagination space. So the techniques that I'm going to kind of give you here in just a second, these techniques are they are bordering the imagination space and the intuitive space. And that space, I don't even know if the imagination space is separate from the intuitive space, because it is all just there. So one of the best ways to practice is get like a picture of something, or even if I have this little remote here. So even if I just looked at this remote and I took it in for like 3 minutes or so, and then I closed my eyes and I just recalled that image. I just remember, I'm imagining that image in my mind. So all I'm doing is I'm thinking, okay, I seen a red, I seen a green, and it had a little bit of white on it, and you're just remembering that image. That helps you to be able to hold the visions that are coming into your mind in your mind's eye. Because what was happening to me in the beginning is I would get a quick burst of a message and then it would be gone, and I'm like, well, crap, I wanted to see that message and now I don't even remember it. Well, the boundary I set there is that, all right, spirit guides, what I want is I'm going to practice on my clairvoyance, and I want to be able to hold that image in my mind. If I don't understand the message, I'm going to let you know, and I ask you to continue to replay that message in my mind until I either get it or I ask you to show it to me in another way. Or I just disregard it in general and say, I'm done with it. I'm not really worried about it at this point. So that is one way to practice. Another way is to close your eyes and count so you're going to hold a number in your mind for 10 seconds. So you would see the number 1 in your mind, and then you would count to 10, and you would hold number 1 and just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Obviously slower than that, but you see that number 1 for 10 seconds. Then you switch it to the number 2, and you hold that for 10 seconds, and you just do that over and over and over again until you get to 10. That is helping you with recalling an image as well, and being able to focus on that image and hold it there. And you are just imagining that. You're not waiting for the number 2 to pop up or anything. You are fully imagining that and just diving into imagining it. So then I'm not going to walk you through it. I will say, quick little plug, I do have in the comments my intuition building course. It's $40, has 33 videos on it, over 10 hours of different techniques and practice techniques and all that stuff. If you're wanting to work on your intuition, it's in the comments, and it's a very affordable, incredibly big course that you can take on your own time. So and in that I walk you through all of these processes more in depth, and plus other processes. But when it comes to one good practice is imagining a house. Whatever this house looks like, wherever the house is whatever that house looks like and where it's at. Don't overthink it. See a house, and then you start to look at that house. You start to look around it. What is all around it? What is there? Grass? Is there a sidewalk? What color is the house? How many windows does it have? What kind of door does it have? Is there a sidewalk going up to the door? Then you bring yourself down to the door of that house, and you open that door, and then you go in to the house, and then you explore that house. There's much more to it, but that's the gist of it. That is a really good technique, because you're utilizing your clairvoyance to be able to see what's going on, but you're also utilizing all of your other clairs because you're listening. You can hear your footsteps on the ground. You can hear the door opening. You can hear if anything else is going on in that house. You can sense, you can feel the energy of this house. You can also hear, I already said here, never mind. You can also feel the temperature of the house and that kind of stuff. So it really dives into all of your abilities. And you can also set intent that you want this house to represent you as a whole right now. And then you'll be able to see maybe some issues that's going on within your life right now or within your body. And you might find a spirit guide in that place and have a good talk with a spirit guide or whatever. It's an amazing technique and a really good way to practice. But those are my top ways to practice your clairvoyance ability. So now I want to move into clairaudience, which is the ability to hear. Now, when it comes to our clairaudience, we can hear things such as we can hear like the frequency of the earth. You can hear spirits talking to you. You can hear ringing your frequency rising and just things like that. Your clairaudience is an incredibly good gift to have. I know a lady that her clairaudience is just like through the roof, and she just hears so clearly, and I'm jealous that she hears so clearly. I can hear pretty darn clear, but not as clear as she is, or she does, but she can't see that well. So I guess that's the trade-off for her. But when it comes to our clairaudience, we can hear those voices and hear communication, but it may sound like our own voice. So I'm going to go through quickly how the different types of voices can come through. So one way it can come through is if I'm sitting here and I'm on the computer, and my guides are telling me I should go look at someone's Facebook page or something. I would hear in my head most likely that I should go and check out blah blah blah's Facebook page. And it would sound like I'm giving myself a suggestion. That's how that works. Now, you may also hear it as someone speaking to you, and it may sound like your own voice though, and it might sound like you should check out blah's Facebook page. Then it could also sound like a different voice, so it may have a different tone, and they say you should check out this person's Facebook page, but it's a completely different voice than yours. That's when it's really nice, and it just sounds like a voice inside of your head. Lastly, you can hear sometimes external voices, like someone's in the room with you saying, hey, you should check out this, and you just know it's your spirit guide or whatever. That's how our clairaudience comes through. And our clairaudience is I don't know, it's very useful, and it's really easy to open up. And I'm going to tell you that in 1 second. All right, so when we look at our clairaudience, one of the best ways to practice is find a quiet moment in your house if you can, even if it's not that quiet. I mean, if there's some really loud bangs going, it might not be the best time. But if like you have your dog walking around or whatever, that's fine. And I want you to just sit quietly. And as you sit there, I want you to allow yourself to hear more things, not reach for more things. I want you to allow that energy to come into your awareness. If you look at it, you can look at it like right now in your hearing, you have this like force of energy that maybe comes out to here. And it's kind of like blocking away all the really foreign frequencies that we typically don't hear. And all we hear is the human frequencies and the physical frequencies. But as we relax, that energy starts to close in and it starts to thin that veil between you and the other realms of things and the other frequencies. So, what happens, I will give you my experience with this the first time that this was literally the first time that I did it. I went quiet and I started to notice that, I hear, just the normal stuff. So I heard like cars going by outside. I heard my furnace be kicking on and things like that. I heard an airplane off in the distance, but then I started to hear like people talking outside of my house, and it was actual people, like maybe even the neighbors in their house. And I just started to hear like a whole bunch of different things, like squirrels, like breathing. I don't know. It was just weird. So I started to hear a lot, but then I heard a voice say, "Oh, I think he can hear us now." Yeah, he can hear us now. And I was like, "Whoa, what the heck was that?" And it was like, it was next to me. And then the more times I did it, I heard these different voices. I didn't know at the time that I had a portal open in my house in this old mirror that we had from like my wife's aunt or whatever. And there were a lot of spirits getting into the house. And there were a lot of spirits just in the house in general because I had no clue about any of that because I was just opening up to my spiritual stuff. And I would hear these conversations. It's the same as when you're getting ready to go to sleep and you're in between that awake and that sleep state. And you sometimes can hear something, or you hear someone say your name, or you hear a breath or something. That is because you're letting go and that veil is thinning. So give that a try and see if that helps you, because it helped me. And don't get freaked out if you hear something. It's not scary. I mean, it might be scary to you, but it's not like they're already there. You just might be able to hear them. But that opens that. So, and now I will say, when you are able to tap into any other frequency, that then tells your brain, it tells your energy, it tells your spirit that, hey, I can tap into that energy. Same with auras. If you're looking at an aura and you're trying to see them, and you just haven't been able to, as soon as you see that first glimpse of a color, your body, your mind realizes, hey, I can see that frequency. And then it's easier for you to see that frequency. So it's easier for you to tap into that frequency once you practice tapping into that frequency. So what happens is you practice this every day or every other day or once a week or whatever you do, and you start to be able to really tap into that frequency without having to sit there for 10 minutes and go quiet and allow more energy and to come in and so on. Just make sure that you are allowing the energy to come to you and you are not reaching out to try to get more, to hear more stuff. That is clairaudience. There's more ways to practice that, but that's one of my top one that I would recommend. There are more in that course that I have as well. All right, so then we have claircognizance. Claircognizance is our ability to just know things. And as I mentioned before, this one is a little bit of a harder one. It's the easiest one and the one that most people utilize the most. But it's hard to understand when it's happening because there's no logic behind it. There's no reasoning, and you just know it. So when you, you may just know that a person's intent is not good. But then you're like, well, there's no reason for me to think that. They're very nice and they're not, doing anything. So oftentimes we'll disregard it. And then we end up finding out that it didn't work out because that person's intent wasn't good. Now, this is the best way to strengthen that one. And it is paying attention and noting down what happens throughout your life. So if you met someone and you're like, oh, I just know they're not good for me and their intent's not good, journal it down. If you just, I don't know, if you are walking into a store and you just know that you're going to have a bad time and then you end up spilling some spaghetti sauce or something, I don't know, whatever, note it down. And then you start to realize what it feels like when you're getting that intuitive hint or hit and when you're not. And if you note it down and nothing happens, well, then you might not have been receiving that. And maybe it was just a thought. Maybe it was anxiety. Maybe it was your ego. But if it does happen, then you can go back and check it off and say, all right, that did happen. And it was my intuition. So trust yourself, and learning to trust yourself and learning to trust what comes in. That's how we do it. And when it comes to just knowing, another good way is utilizing tarot cards. And I would take tarot cards and I would put them in my hand. I would shuffle them up until I felt like I needed to stop. And then I would close my eyes and ask my spirit guides, what message is this card going to have for me? And I would just get this download. And then I would say, what is the picture what is the card that it's going to, or that I'm going to pull? And then I would get an image and I would just know what it is. And then I would flip the card, and sure enough, that's what it was correct, like 95% of the time. So there are different ways to practice it, but the most important is just paying attention and understanding when you're actually getting that just knowing versus when you're just having anxiety or having a negative thought or whatever. All right, so then we have clairsentience, and that is our ability to feel. And there's many people out there that they classify themselves as empaths, and they say, I'm just incredibly empathic. I feel others' energy. When there's big world events happening, it really, really just gets to me and it really wears down on me and so on. Well, that's because they are very open to their ability to feel, which is clairsentience. So when it comes to clairsentience, this can be like you're standing close to someone and you start to feel their energy and you're like, whoa, I'm feeling your energy. Or you walk into a room and you get a bad feeling, or you get some anxiety, or you just know something bad happened there. You just feel it. And maybe there was a big argument there a few hours before you went there, and there was some negative energy hanging around the spot. Or maybe there's a spirit that you're feeling that's in there. Or maybe there's just, maybe there was something bad that happened in that room that you're picking up on. That's how our clairsentience works. And you can pick up on others' energy. So let's say you go to work and you're like, oh, I'm in a great mood. Today is going to be a freaking awesome day. Then you walk in and then Cindy over there is just stressed out to the max, and she's just having a bad day because she spilled her coffee, and then her car ran out of gas almost. She had to stop for gas. It was cold. Then she got to the office and the vending machine was out of Doritos, and she's just having a terrible day and she's stressed out. And then you're like, oh, she's having a bad day. It must suck for her. Hopefully you feel better. And then you get to your desk and then you're like, this desk sucks. And then you're like, this damn computer isn't working. And then you start feeling yourself getting stressed out. And that's because you took on that person's energy. And there's ways to protect yourself, which I'm going to go over, not in depth, but I'm going to go over because I already have tons of videos on protection and grounding and all that stuff. It's on my YouTube page. There's a link for that in the comments as well. There's a protection and boundaries and grounding video in there that's very useful for clairsentience and stuff. But if you're not protecting yourself, you're going to take that on. If you're not diligent about it, you're going to take it on. So aside from that, you can take on world events that's happening. So if there's a lot of stuff going on in the world and you're very open in your clairsentience, you're going to start feeling that fear. You're going to start feeling that anxiety, and it'll heighten within you. And you have to learn to protect yourself and cleanse and clear that if it does get in. So first, I want to say, to protect yourself, you imagine a bubble of bright white light surrounding your body. That is the number one way. And then you set intent, such as, I want this bubble to protect me from taking on anyone else's energy, and I want this bubble to protect me from anyone else stealing my energy. And then that's what's happening. That bubble's protecting you. Then grounding is just imagining roots coming out of your feet, going deep down into the earth and connecting to a crystal, bringing that energy up and then sending it back down. That's cleansing you and it's rooting and grounding you. And that helps you feel more present, more rooted, more grounded, more secure. And it cleanses out any energy that may have mingled with yours that needed to be gone. Those two things will help you so, so much in life in general. Just doing those two methods in the morning and at night, that helped me with my anxiety. I mean, it increased or it improved my anxiety by probably 80 to 85%. It was a game changer for me and I couldn't believe it. So, protect yourself. Now, how to strengthen clairsentience. One of the best ways, there's a lot of ways to work on this, such as allowing yourself to feel a flower and just feel its energy, or start feeling the energy in the room and paying attention to what's happening from room to room, or from neighborhood to neighborhood, and just things like that, or from person to person. But one way to really strengthen it is to close your eyes, go into a meditative state, and you open up your crown chakra, like you just see a flower coming out of the top of your head, and then you bring in bright white energy into the top of your head. It goes down, fills your whole entire body. And then you start to feel this heart area opening up, and almost like there's a big ball of bright white energy there that's just filling up. And you start to see this energy expand, and it expands out into the room to where all the stuff in the room is starting to disappear within this white energy that's going out. So now the room disappears. Now the house disappears. And this energy keeps going until it just takes over the whole universe, basically. And then you're just sitting in a white void of energy. This is a super powerful way to open up your clairsentience. Trust me, it may not seem like much, but man, I did this, and that night, me and my wife went out to dinner. We were at O'Charlie's, and the waitress came over, and she sat the check down in the little checkbook thing, and I went to reach for it, and when I did, my hand got like this far away from it, and I felt this intense heat, like physical heat coming from it. And I knew, I didn't feel it in my body, but I just knew that it was anxiety. This energy was anxiety energy. And I was like, holy cow, that's a lot of energy. So at this time, I was already practicing Reiki as well. So I sent some energy to it and brushed it off. And then I picked it up, didn't feel it anymore. I signed the check. That was it. I paid and whatever. That was my first experience. And I was like, holy cow. It really worked, and I am really able to feel others' energy now. So that's how you can open up that ability. All right, so now these are the two last ones. They are they're much less talked about than any of the other clairs. We have clairgustance. So clairgustance is taste, where you might taste things. Where this comes into play is, well, there's many ways it comes into play, but if you ever taste like a metallic taste in your mouth, that typically means that someone around you is stealing your energy. So pay attention to that. That's clairgustance. Now, if you are, I don't know, you're just out somewhere and you're like I'm tasting, I don't know, ketchup or something. And then someone's like, oh my gosh, my brother passed away here and he loved ketchup. I don't know, something like that. Well, you could pick up on that kind of stuff. So then we move in the ways to, I don't know a ton about these clairs because I don't dive into them that much. So I'm not going to go as in depth with these. But then the way to strengthen that is paying attention to the taste of everything, the taste of things that go in, or that when you're eating something, just really paying attention to the taste to allow yourself to dive into that that ability or that realm of things. Last one, and then I'm going to talk about ways to strengthen your intuition, not just like your clairs, but your intuition as a whole. Last one is clairalience. Now, you can say clairalience, clairalience. I say clairalience, and if it's wrong, I don't care. It's how I say it. So that smell. So when my wife's grandpa passed away, we were at La Rosa's like a few days afterwards, and it was a big deal in the family. The big rock of the family passed away and all that. And we were at La Rosa's, and it was like I don't know, like 2 o'clock on a Wednesday or something, and there was just nobody there basically. And we were there, and all of a sudden we got this whiff of this. He used to smell like a hardworking man. Take that forever you want, but also like this clone. So it was like this clone smell with this like musky smell from him working outside all day in the garden or doing whatever he was doing. And we both looked at each other, and she was like, "Do you smell that?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then she like started crying because we just knew her grandpa was there. That is how clairalience works, and it is it's a weird one, but you can smell different things. Like if you walk into a room, another very common thing that happens is someone passes away and they were a heavy smoker, and then you walk into a room of your house and you smell smoke. And you're like, "Oh, what is that? I smell smoke all of a sudden." And you just know that that guy or that woman is there in that house, and that their spirit is hanging around and it smells like smoke. That kind of thing. So the way to strengthen this is smelling flowers, or to smell the food that you're eating, and just really pay attention to your senses in that manner, and it strengthens that ability to tap into that frequency. All right, so I am going to now go into ways to strengthen your intuition as a whole. And the first one I'm going to talk about is meditation. And anybody that knows me knows that, number one, I'm not like this yogi that's meditating all the time. I'm not. But I am 100% an advocate of meditating every single day for at least 15 minutes. It is, in my opinion, the most single thing that you can do to change your life. I truly, truly believe that. And meditating the way that I meditate, at least, is how I would say it. Like, there's tons of different meditations. The way I meditate is I do a mindlessness meditation where I close my eyes, I visualize, or I not visualize, I look into this area right here. I just gaze into it. And then I just look into that area and I tell myself, I'm going to go mindless. I'm not going to think. And then I don't. And then a thought comes in and I realize I'm thinking. And I'm like, all right. Then I send that thought away to be healed with love and light, refocus on that area, say I'm not going to think again. What happens sometimes is you do that, and then you start seeing movement in there. And if you continue to look and gaze into that movement, your intuition will take you places sometimes, and it becomes a channeling meditation, and that is okay. It's still a mindlessness meditation in a way. But the goal is to be mindless, and that gets you into the flow state, and that opens up all of your energy, and it tunes you into your clairs, into your intuitive abilities. So meditation is so, so important because, number one, when you meditate, you are getting rid of the clutter in your head. You get rid of it. Then your mind is quiet. So when you're out and about, like when you're meditating, your mind's going to be really quiet. If you meditate enough, when you go out and about, your mind's going to be way more quiet than it is now. So when you start to get that intuition, when you start to get that voice, or you start to get that vision or whatever popping into your head, you see it, you realize it. Instead of having all the clutter, thinking about work, thinking about the gym, your kids, your wife, or whatever, you see that message and you say, okay, I just saw that message and I just received my intuitive imprint or whatever. So meditation helps with that so much. And then lastly, it helps you to become familiar with your energy and what is going on within your body. What's going on within your energy? When you're sitting there, the meditation makes you become familiar with your energy. So when you are sitting there and meditating, you know how your legs feel. You know how your chest feels. You know how your arms feel. You know how your energy feels as a whole. So when that alters, you know something's affecting your energy. Maybe something externally, maybe something internally, who knows, but something's affecting your energy. Just remember that. All right. Next one is connecting with your spirit guides. I'm not going to go deep into this because I have classes on this as well. I think there's a free one on my YouTube page that goes into how to connect with your spirit guides and archangels and higher self, all that stuff. But I will say that if you can establish a connection with your spirit guides, knowing and understanding who your spirit guides are, what their role in your life is, and all that stuff, it is so beneficial. It's like you have a team of people helping you at all times. So working with your spirit guides, then using a pendulum. I don't have my pendulum with me at the moment, but utilizing a pendulum, which is it's a string usually or a chain, and it has either a quartz crystal, clear quartz crystal on the bottom of it, or a stone, or a smoky quartz, or I don't know, all kinds of different things. Some are wooden. I recommend a clear quartz crystal pendulum because it flows the best. It's clear quartz crystal is what we use in computers, and we use it for so much, and it's programmable, and it flows very good. So utilizing that crystal or that pendulum, you can ask yourself a question. You can ask your spirit guides a question. You can say, what is the answer to this? Or should I do this? And you'll get that answer. Then you can take that pendulum and you can place it on under, you hold it and then you put your hand under it. And then you ask it, what's the answer to yes? What's the answer to no? What's the answer to maybe? And when you ask, it starts swinging in a different direction. So then you can ask your intuition, what is the answer to this? Is it a yes or a no? And then you can go to your pendulum and you can say, pendulum, spirit guides, I ask you to come down and talk to me through my pendulum. What is the answer to this? And it'll give you an answer, yes or no. So, and then there's grids and charts and stuff you can use for pendulums as well, but those are very important. Tarot cards, I already told you how I use those, but you can use that as well to strengthen your intuition. And then just paying attention to synchronicities. There, it's said that we experience like 1,000 synchronicities a day or something crazy like that. And our brains are programmed to not take in any unuseful information, only to retain the important information. So when we hear a song 3 times in a row, our brain's not like, oh, that was important, I should have listened to that. Our brain's like, we're going to forget about that. Let's think about work, or let's think about the things that we prioritize as important in our life. But when you start to pay attention to everything that's happening throughout the day and just in life in general, then you start to pick up on things that you typically don't pick up on, such as a song that's played a bunch of times, or a number that you've seen a bunch of times, or a name that you've heard. So paying attention is super important for that purpose. All right, so then let's see. Healing and clearing away filters, traumas, negative energy, patterns, cycles, and so on. To open up our energy field and allow our energy to flow effortlessly, to allow our abilities to flow effortlessly, we have to clear out our filters. We have to clear out our blockages within our chakras, within our energy. We got to work on the traumas and so on, because they can hamper the way that our energy flows. So making sure to heal, I guess, is just what I would say. Work on your shadow self, work on your things that you need to work on, your limited beliefs. If you're someone that went to church for a long time, you may need to work on some things related to the church, because it may be blocking you from tapping into your intuition. And that's okay. That happens to many people. I see that a lot, actually. So allowing yourself to heal through those things. And then gaining spiritual knowledge, such as doing things like you're doing right now, or taking a course like I have in the comments. There's a few different ones. Or going on YouTube and watching a bunch of different spiritual stuff, and just gaining that knowledge. That awakens your third eye. That allows your third eye, or that intrigues your third eye and gets it flowing and gets it interested, and it kind of like perks it up. So learning or gaining spiritual knowledge is a way also for your guides to guide you to where you need to go. It helps them if you're like, oh, I'm going to watch some things on inner child, and then you do, and then you happen to come across a video or a book that talks about past life stuff, and then you start diving into past life stuff, and then you go into energy healing, then you start becoming an energy healer, and that's kind of the way that it works. So it opens the door for your guides to get that message through to you. And the most important thing is to just understand that utilizing your intuition takes practice and it takes patience. It is not something that's going to just happen like that unless it does just happen like that for you. But it usually takes some practice, and it's not practice to try to like strengthen a muscle necessarily. It's a practice to realize that you're already able to tap into that intuitive ability. You just have to practice and be patient and realize that it's happening. Because, for example, I told my wife, or I was down in the basement one time and I saw this spirit. I'm going to make this really short because I've told this story a bunch, but I saw a spirit. It was dressed in a blue jacket. It was dressed in a like tan hat, and it was like a soldier looking guy, like from way back in the day. And I went upstairs and I was like, I told my wife, I said, I want to do something. Will you do something with me? I said, I just saw a spirit downstairs. I was talking with him. I want you to tell me what spirit was down there. She's like, oh gosh. And I'm like, no pressure. Even if you get it wrong, it's all good. I said, I just want you to think, if you could imagine a spirit being downstairs, standing by the stairs, what would that spirit look like? And she was like, she said, I don't know. And I said, would it be a man or a woman? And she said, I feel like it would be a man. And I said, okay, what kind of hair does he have? What does he look like? And she said, oh, well, he has this kind of a little bit longer hair and like just all this stuff. And she said that he's wearing a blue jacket. He has a tan hat, but he's holding it at his side. Like he took it off to talk to me. And I was like, whoa, like that's really crazy because he had it on when he was talking to me. But I guess back in the day, it was the way to do it is to take your hat off when you're talking to a woman or something. I don't know. But so she described him. And it's just that easy to realize that you can do it. But she still is like, I can't tap into it. I can't see spirits. And I'm like, yes, you can because you did. But we don't realize that it's that easy to tap into that side of things. And we have to realize that and get out of our own way because we get in our own way too much. People that are interested in this kind of stuff, I almost like want to take them to a place where I know there's a lot of spirit activity. And then I want I want to find the spirit that's there. And I want them to feel into the same exact way I just told you about my wife. I want to have them do the same thing with seeing a spirit. And I guarantee you they're going to get it right. I guarantee you. And I did, last thing I'm going to say, I did a mediumship workshop and I had people come in and I had them bring in a artifact from someone that's passed away. And I did psychometry, which is where, and I talk about this in the intuition class as well, and it's where you hold something in your receiving hand, which is my left hand, that came from a past spirit. And you hold that there. And you close your eyes and you just ask, what was this person like? Who did this belong to? And so on. And I had them write it down. I had them exchange artifacts and write it down. There were different tables. And then we came back and we shared what we had. And man, it was really, really cool because every single person there just about was like, I don't know much about mediumship, but I'm interested in it and I just kind of want to learn about it. And almost every single, I think there was only one person that didn't hit the nail on the head, and that may be for many reasons. Doesn't mean she was wrong. She may have been picking up on someone else, but everyone in there, except for one person, was able to see that spirit that related to that thing and get a message from that spirit for the person and so on. And the whole class was just amazed at how well they were all able to do. And I was happy to see that they were able to get out of their own way and do it. And that's a good example of how our intuition works. Now, some of those people, even still to this day, are like, I can't communicate with any spirits. I don't know how to communicate. And it's one of those things where you did already. You just have to allow yourself to do so. So anyway, practice some patience. So now I'm going to talk about archangels. And again, I'm not going to go crazy in depth with archangels, but I do want to kind of go over it a little bit because I think it's important to understand that archangels are there to talk with us. They're there to help us through many different things, and you can utilize their power for things. All right. So when we look at this is one of my biggest archangels that I utilize is I don't know. Archangel Michael might be close to first as well, but Archangel Raphael. He is an archangel that, and also I just want to say I am not an archangel specialist, so do not think that I know all this stuff about archangels because I don't know a ton about them. I just am giving you my experience with them and how to connect with them and how to utilize them in your life. So Archangel Michael is big about healing. He's big about he's a very big healer. He's the archangel that heals a lot. Now, earlier on in my spiritual journey, I was meditating and I kept seeing this guy show up, and it was just his face. And he kept showing up and he was looking at me and smiling. And I'm like, who are you? Why are you looking at me and smiling? And he just kept looking at me and smiling. This happened for like a month or two or three, maybe even longer. And then and it wasn't every meditation, it was every once in a while. So then one day I decided to call down Archangel Raphael to help heal me or help me with healing something or something. I don't remember why. And I called him down, and when I did, I saw him. And I was like, there he is. And I was like, hold on a second. And he was smiling at me. And I was like, you're the freaking guy that's been smiling at me. And he was like, yes, I am. And I was like, why? Why the hell have you been in my meditations just smiling at me? Like, what do you need? Like, what do you want? And he said, I wanted you to become familiar with me and understand who I am. I was trying to get you familiar with my energy. And now that we're here, I want to let you know that we are going to be working together very closely when you're doing your energy healing. And I was like, I don't think I'm going to be doing energy healing. And he was like, you're going to be doing energy healing. And I was like, okay, whatever. And my very first time doing an energy healing, I opened up and Archangel Raphael came. He was standing behind me, and he wrapped his wings around me. He wrapped his wings around my whole body, and his arms merged with my arms. And then my whole body was just glowing. And I did the session. It was powerful. It was awesome, whatever. When I was done, he went away, and I felt really, really good. And still to this day, that happens every single energy healing that I do. Archangel Raphael is right there. He wraps his wings around me. He merges with my hands, and he helps guide me through my sessions and send very powerful healing to people. That's my relationship with Archangel Raphael. If you are needing healing in any way, or if you are wanting assistance with healing some trauma or healing something in the past life or healing a cycle that you have going on, calling upon Archangel Raphael is a very useful thing to do. He can come down, he can help you, he can send you that energy, even if you can't see him, even if you don't know he's there. Just calling down and asking for his energy, for his power to help with healing, he will. There was a time when my son was sick with a bad cold, and I called him down and I asked him to go in there and heal my son, or asked him if he could, and he said yes. And he went in, he did some healing. I was like, all right, cool. And then my son woke up the next day, and he was like completely fine. Like, didn't even have a symptom of having a cold or anything. It was so crazy. And he can do that kind of things. But it's not going to happen every time, because a lot of the times when we're sick, we're really just purging. We're just purging energy. We're not actually sick with a virus or a bacteria. And that's a whole other topic. So anyway, you can utilize Archangel Raphael for those types of things. Then I want to go into Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael is a protection archangel. He is the protector. He helps with I don't know, just protecting us and protecting the realm and so on. So when you are needing to feel some extra protection, or you're wanting to do a cord cutting ceremony, or you are wanting to get rid of some energy that's negative or scary or anything like that, you can call on Archangel Michael. Like when I do my energy, or when I do my protection, I called Archangel Michael to come down and reinforce these bubbles. He has a sword and a shield that he typically carries around, and he helps me with protecting, or with these bubbles and reinforcing them. If when I used to cleanse houses and stuff, he would come with me and cleanse the house with me and protect me. If there's ever anything that I'm feeling afraid of, which is very far and few in between now at this point in my journey, but I call on him and he helps me. Now, sometimes when I am doing protection before I meditate, I ask for Archangel Michael to come down to me, and he will reach out his hand and ask me to come with him. So I do my protection, then I grab his hand and he'll throw me on a horse, or who knows what he does. He does something different every time, just about, but he'll throw me on his horse and then take me on these adventures. And it's just crazy. Basically, he helps me with a lot of stuff. So if you're in a bad time and you need help, you need support, you need strength, you need protection, Archangel Michael is the one to go to. All right, so then Archangel Metatron. He is a archangel that you want to call down when you're looking at decisions in life, or when you're looking into manifestation. He helps a lot in this nature. There was I just told this story the other night, or maybe I told it in one of my courses. I don't even remember. Everything's merging together at this point. But I one day I was, or yeah, I was talking about it in person. I was doing a manifestation meditation for the Lionsgate portal, which is 8/8. So it's the 8th day of the 8th month, and it's when the Lionsgate portal, which is a very good manifestation portal, opens. And I was doing this manifestation technique of writing stuff down, talking with my guides, inviting all this manifestation energy. And he came down, and I was like, oh, whoa, that's different. I didn't expect you to come down. And he's this really big archangel, just really big and strong and just big. And I did my meditation, did my manifestation, and then he reached out his hand. I was like, oh, this is interesting. And I grabbed it, and then he took me to this place where it was like I'm in the middle of the universe or in the middle of something. I don't know. Then there was this big statue, and all of a sudden, all this stuff started to happen. Energy started to rise from me, and it was being taken away, and then energy was being sent into me, and it was like, what the hell is happening? There was this thing above my head that was glowing, and I was like, I don't even know what that is at this point. And then we were done. We came back, and I was done with that meditation. Now, the next day, my friend called me, and she said, hey, Josh, she said, would you like to tell me why there's a big gray angel in my room last night telling me that I needed to talk to you? And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, well, that would be Archangel Metatron. And I told her the whole experience, and she said, okay. I need to tell you about the 8th chakra, which is right above your head. And she went in and talked about all that and said my 8th chakra is opening up and getting activated and blah, blah, blah. And from that moment forward, my whole life changed. Like, that was a life-changing meditation for me. So, big deal there. And, yeah. So then I want to get off of archangels a little bit and just talk about, like, ascended masters, like Jesus or Mother Mary and Buddha and stuff like that. I just want to say that we can utilize them. For example, I was asking, is there really a heaven? Because everyone talks about heaven, and I was like, I believe that we die and we merge back with source energy, and that's kind of the end of it, and so on. And Jesus, I wasn't asking Jesus. I was just asking in general, is there a heaven? Spirit guides, show me, is there a heaven? And I went into meditation, didn't see anything. The next day, went back into meditation, and Jesus was there. And I was like, oh, like he walked into my house. Like, I've seen this through my third eye. He walked in, he sat next to me, and he was like, whenever you're done doing your protection, I would like for you to come with me. And I was like, all right. So I did my, I don't know if what I just said, if I said meditation or protection, but he said, when you're done with doing your protection, come with me. I did my protection and I said, I'm ready. He said, all right, let's go. And we walked through like this light, and we ended up in front of these big gates, really big gates. And I was like, is that what I think it is? And he was like, it is. He said, there is a heaven. He said, but heaven is for souls that want to create the physical experience without the crap, basically. He said, so this is heaven, and your soul can choose to go to heaven at a certain point if it wants to, and it's where you can manifest literally everything, and you can enjoy the physical touch again, because when you're merged with spirit, you don't have that. You don't get to have sex. You don't get to have a hug. You don't get to feel the grass under your feet. You don't get to feel a kiss. You don't get to taste pizza. You don't, like, all of that stuff. You don't get that. But in heaven, you do. And you get to do whatever it is that you want to do for the most part there. And it is a manifested place. So just like Earth is a manifested place. So anyway, he showed me that. And that is my relationship with Jesus. Well, that's not my relationship. Jesus has helped me in many different ways. And it's been great. So anyway, last story and how I relate to Mother Mary. So Mother Mary, one day my son was sick. And I was like, man, like I wish that I could just heal him and just get him better, because it wasn't working when I was healing him. And I was laying in bed at this point, and this lady appeared above me in this like white dress, and like I think she might have had like a little hood over her head. I don't remember, but she was like laying flat above my bed in the ceiling. I was like, what the hell? Like, who are you? And she said, I'm Mother Mary. And she said, I would like to heal your son. Do I have permission to heal your son? I was like, yes, please heal my son, as long as you're really Mother Mary. She said, I am. And then this green color started coming out from her. And it went out and it went into my son's room, and it started to send healing to him and wrap him in this healing. After that whole ordeal, I Googled Mother Mary, and I realized that she is associated with the color emerald green. I think that was the color, and I think that's the color she's associated with. But she can help heal. She can do things as well. And she's not like, I mean, she's just but she's the mother of Jesus. And I don't know what else. Or hold on, is Mother Mary? God dang it, I think she is the mother of Jesus. Anyway, she is a big healer, and she can heal and she can help as well. So she did. So anyway, that is going to wrap it up for this intuition class. But I do want to give a few little things. So when it comes to your intuition, trust yourself, pay attention, journal, write things down. Assume that everything that happens is for a reason. Everything that happens. When you spill your cup of coffee, that was happening for a reason. When you stub your toe, it happened for a reason. When you're driving to work and you got stopped by 15 lights, that happened for a reason. You have to trust it. And that will put you in a much better place. If you are wanting to build your intuition, I have an intuition building course. It has 33 videos, over 10 hours of practice techniques and knowledge that I'm sharing with you about different clairs, about all of the intuitive stuff, just so much. There's so much in there. That is available for $40 right now, and it's in the comment section. Along with that, I also have the course that I just came out with, and it is the how to get out of stuck energy and move forward. And that course is $40 as well. It has tons of material in it, but it's like a 7-day plan that's drawn out for you. And before you even get into that plan, there's so much information that's spread about so many different things on why we get stuck in energy. How do we get out of that stuck energy? Why do we do the methods that I'm going to be doing in the 7-day program? Why do we do that to get out of the stuck stuff? That is also only $40, and that can help you if you feel like you're just kind of stuck in life. Lastly, with that, there is a pinned thing as well that is for it says I'm sorry, it's for, and I don't even see it. There it is. It's at the end of the first comment, and it's all of my courses in a bundle, and it is $69.99 a month to take any of the courses, including my chakra bonding course, which is a $133 course, and that's a 9-week program. It does all of those. I'm going to also be adding at least 3 programs a month into that course or into that academy. So it's the Center for Healing and Integrations Academy. It's $69.99 a month, and you can take any course that you want, as much as you want, or at your own pace, whatever. It is there, and that for me is the best deal for you if you plan on taking more than one course, because all the courses are $40, which is cheap already, but if you're going to do 2 courses, that's $80. You might as well just do the monthly thing. So I'm just letting you know that is there. And I do have a donation post here. It has Venmo, Square, Cash App. Feel free to donate if you found this helpful and you feel like donating to help a good cause. And with all that being said, I want you to know that I truly appreciate you tuning in and watching me. This will also be uploaded to YouTube. So if you want to watch this again, or if you caught the back half of it, it's going to be on YouTube. I'm going to upload it as soon as I'm done, actually. So it's all there. I have so much stuff going on. On Mondays, I have a healing circle that I'm doing, and that has been so amazing. I am so glad that I decided to start doing that, and so is everyone else that's came, because you're either receiving healing or you're practicing your healing on others. So if you're a practitioner and you want to start practicing your energy healing or your technique of healing, come on up and help and send healing to the people that come. If you want to receive some healing, even if you're a practitioner and you want to receive some healing, come on up and you will receive healing. It's every Monday at the Center for Healing and Integration at 5332 Rapid Run Road, Cincinnati, Ohio 45238. That is all I have on that. So I do see a comment. So Anne, you're saying, I love to know your book recommendations, and thanks for a great teaching tonight. And you're very welcome. I really appreciate your support and you tuning in and watching and being active and asking questions. So book recommendations, it depends on what you're wanting to get in, but there's a few. So Untethered Soul, it's either Untethered Soul or Untethered Souls. Super great book to deal with the monkey mind, to deal with that mind that just won't shut up. It is so good. And getting rid of blockages within the body, that is a good book. Joe Dispenza's book, I think it's like Becoming Supernatural. I don't remember what it's called, but Joe Dispenza has a book, and I can post it later. I just forget the exact name, but he has a book that is so amazing, that teaches you scientifically and spiritually how your mind can alter your DNA, alter your everything about your body, get you out of sickness, and create your reality. Super good book. I recommend that one. And then other than that, I don't know if there's any other ones that I would recommend at this time. And also, just to say, I'm not a huge book reader, but those have been some really instrumental books in my life, and I highly recommend them to you. Louise Hayes has some good books as well, like teaching you how to heal yourself and teaching you how like different issues within the body relate to like you being mad at your mother, or I don't know, things like that. So much good stuff in that book as well. So yeah, take a look at those. And again, I do just want to thank everyone for coming and watching. And just keep a look on my Facebook page. I'm going to be doing all kinds of stuff all the time. I have so much stuff in the works. Check out my online academy. I'm so serious. It is freaking awesome. And I'm not just saying that because I want your money. Like, I would love your money. But I'm literally just saying it because my goal behind that course is to put out what I wish I would have had when I was first starting out spiritually, or when I needed some guidance. That is what my push is behind that course, and to make it affordable. Like $40 for a course is affordable. At least I think it is. And I truly think that I could charge way more for the courses, but I don't want to. I want to be able to help people. When I sat down to start doing my courses, I was like, what is my main goal? And my main goal is to help people and not price gouge people, because I think that people should all be able, like everyone should be able to access it. And that was my goal, is to put as much information out there and help as many people as I can, because that is my goal in life, is to help people, not to take people's money. But unfortunately, well, I guess fortunately, but I have a family and I have a house and I have a business and I have all that stuff that I have to maintain. So I appreciate all the support, any support anybody gives, but also I promise you, you will love the course if you decide to do it. So I have a couple comments. I'm going to read them real quick and then I'm going to hop on off. So Marina said, thank you so much for a wonderful session, Josh. About to buy your course and been meaning to do that for a week now. Thank you for offering the courses. Marina, I truly appreciate that. And I'm so happy to be able to get on here and do this. It was so awesome seeing you on Monday. And I always enjoy your presence. You have a nice presence about you. So I truly appreciate you coming into my life and coming to the center and hopping in here and just engaging and all that good stuff. So I appreciate you, and I do appreciate everyone else as well. I truly hope that all of you have a great rest of your week, a great rest of your or a great weekend coming up, and I will be on here for more at some point. I'll be here for sure on my Sunday Energy Update. I forgot to plug that. I do my Sunday Energy Update every Sunday. I'm here doing a live, giving you the energy for the week and what's going on within the world and all that good stuff. So I expect this Sunday Energy Update to be a good one, but we'll see. A lot of stuff going on. All right. I will talk to you all later, and I hope that you all have an amazing day.